Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us here for another edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Aaron White, and we are tracking some changes in the forecast as we go through the next couple of days. Of course, last week, the big story was all that wildfire smoke, hazy conditions, very bad air quality, hazardous levels that was recorded across Ohio back on Friday. Of course, that has since improved. We are still tracking some wildfire smoke in the air, some hazy conditions here this afternoon. We do have an air quality alert for ground level ozone actually for at least today, but we are looking at overall better conditions in terms of that air quality as we go through this week. But the other story, and really the bigger story, is going to be the potential for some severe thunderstorms going into tomorrow, which is why we have a 10 weather impact alert as we are tracking potentially 2 rounds of storms, some coming in the morning that could be severe, and then depending on how that plays out in the morning, will affect some storms in the afternoon, which could also be strong to severe. So let's go ahead and dive into the 10 weather impact forecast as we're really tracking pretty quiet weather here this afternoon. We got some sunshine out there right now. Temperatures are getting into the lower 80s. We got 83 degrees as our current temp. Winds are pretty light, about 7 miles per hour. So overall, not tracking much wind here for today, and that's leading to some stagnant air and why we have that ground level ozone, some pollutants in the air here for today. So just be aware of that. It's mainly for anyone that is sensitive to some of that lower air quality, anyone with asthma, any other upper respiratory issues. Just try to limit your time outside here for today. But we are going to see some better conditions, especially looking ahead to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So what we are looking at, again, we're tracking hazy skies right now, but really focusing on tomorrow, because we have that threat for thunderstorms, and some of which could be strong to severe. Damaging wind gusts are going to be the primary concern, but we can't rule out some storms that could produce a tornado, but also some large hail. But right now, as it stands, given the overall weather setup here, damaging wind gusts would be the primary concern, but we'll be watching everything here as we go through the day tomorrow. Once that system clears out, we are tracking much nicer conditions here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Lower humidity, highs in the mid to upper 70s on Wednesday and possibly even Thursday with a fair amount of sunshine. So really some nice conditions coming our way here for the middle of the week. But also want to talk about the wildfire smoke because that has been a concern here, of course, last week. Not as much around here today, and we're watching the overall pattern because we were talking about the wildfires in Canada and northern Minnesota back last week. Those fires are still burning a little bit, but because of how the pattern is set up right now, we're also watching fires out in parts of the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington State, and a lot of the smoke that we're going to see going into tonight and tomorrow is actually coming from some of those fires. So you can see the concentration here from Oregon, Washington, all the way through Montana into the Dakotas and Minnesota. That's going to start to build its way to the south along a cold front. That's going to also kick off some thunderstorms here as we go through today up into parts of the upper Midwest around Wisconsin and Iowa. And then those storms will move in here for tomorrow, accompanied with a little bit of wildfire smoke. Not going to be nearly as bad as what we had, of course, last week. So as we look at things right now, pretty quiet. We got mostly sunny skies, some clouds starting to build in from the north and west. That's associated with our next storm system that's really developing out across the upper Midwest right now. And any potential severe weather, it's going to stay away from us for today. That's all focused really well to the north and west, even off the screen right now in Wisconsin and Iowa. Now, those storms are going to roll off to the south and east overnight and could bring some severe weather into northwestern Ohio. But going into tomorrow, those storms are going to continue to build to the south and east and could be severe as they move through central and southern Ohio during the morning hours, and then possibly some more storms for the afternoon. So this is what we're looking at, a level 3 risk now. Basically near and east of Interstate 71 is where it's focused across southeastern Ohio, near the Columbus metro, including areas around Circleville, Chillicothe, Athens, up to Cambridge, and even a level 2 risk further to the north and west. So we have that potential for severe weather here for tomorrow, again with those 2 rounds. But I will say that round number 1 coming in during the morning whatever happens with that is going to really influence what happens during the afternoon. And it's really possible that if the storms linger around a little bit longer, we might not get any more storms tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to really come down to how things play out as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. But right now, as it stands, the primary threat is going to be for those damaging wind gusts, but we still can't rule out a tornado and some hail and even potential for heavy rainfall, leading to a little bit of localized flooding here as we go through your Tuesday. So timing this out on the hour-by-hour forecast for the rest of today. Pretty quiet. We got some clouds rolling in as we get into tonight and for tomorrow morning. Here comes round number one. Now, this is an update to one of our computer projections showing the storms may be rolling in a little bit sooner. You can see that line here by 7 a.m., 8 o'clock in the morning, moving across central Ohio. So moving through the Columbus area around 9, 10 a.m. That continues to push off to the south and east, and here's that redeveloping line of storms that could also be strong to severe as we get towards the noon hour, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That continues to build through, and then by 5, 6 to 7 p.m., things actually might start to wind down a little bit here. So right now it does look like our severe weather threat is going to be in the morning to the early to late afternoon hours here on your Tuesday. We'll still have to watch what happens during the evening with a little bit more showers and possibly a few thunderstorms. But I think we do at least have the threat with that round number one, possibly round number two of seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms here on your Tuesday. So that's why we have that 10 weather impact alert here for tomorrow. 84 the high temperature. Behind that cold front coming through, it's going to really cool us down. It's also going to lower that humidity. So we're at 75 for a high on Wednesday. But also notice Thursday morning down to 56 degrees. Nice and cool, low humidity. Really looking at some nice conditions here for the rest of the work week. And even into the weekend, we do start to warm back up. Highs are back into the mid to upper 80s here on Saturday and Sunday. But overall, still some pretty nice conditions here as we head towards the weekend. So that's a look at the 10 weather impact forecast. And as we are tracking storms, of course, around here, storms out towards the East Coast actually caused a bit of wind damage over the weekend. The National Weather Service received dozens of reports on Saturday, including in Maryland. Casey Baylor with WJZ shows us what people dealt with in Maryland.
It was terrifying. I mean, terrifying.
Hearing strong winds across Pasadena.
More of a twisting than high winds, really.
I saw the neighbors' chairs, they have little white plastic chairs, came flying by, and I went, uh-oh.
Rachel Buckland says moments later, the rain fell, making it hard to see outside. Buckland says she and her husband took cover in the bathroom, and then she heard a loud noise.
A whoosh, and you could hear the trees cracking.
Branches and tree limbs snapped and fell all over her front lawn on Bar Harbor Road, nearly missing her home but damaging cars. It even brought down power lines in the neighborhood.
There was this big orange burst of color, and then the power went out.
Down the street by Riviera Plaza on Fort Smallwood Road, you'll find a pole split in half, damaged wires, and multiple road closures. Anne Arundel County fire officials say the Riviera Beach and Pasadena areas saw significant damage due to this weather event. Resident Roberta Stewart says this storm felt different than others.
I mean, I heard the rain coming sideways at my window, and it seemed like it kept coming and kept coming and kept coming.
Now they all wait for power to be restored. During this time, they're checking in on other neighbors, making sure everyone is safe.
Real tight knit down here.
An Anne Arundel County fire official says no injuries have been reported. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service is calling this a, quote, straight line wind event. Reporting on your corner in Pasadena, I'm Casey Baylor for WJZ.
And in parts of the country, cities are working on contracts with specialized teams to help fight some of the wildfires. In places like Los Angeles, the goal is to keep aerial water bombers on speed dial. Ian Lee gives us a look at the so-called super scoopers, who are world-renowned for their decades of firefighting.
Wildfires rage across the United States and Canada, the summer's hot weather fueling the infernos. As firefighters battle the flames on the ground, a war rages in the air. One flying workhorse, the Canada Air 415, better known as the Super Scooper.
A lot of the people that fly this aircraft are ex-fighter pilots.
In Calgary, Alberta, de Havilland Aircraft of Canada shows us the next generation of super scoopers being built, the 515. Neil Sweeney oversees updates to a plane that's not really a plane.
This is actually a boat that flies, and it lands on water, it can take off on water, it can take off on land. It's an exceptional aircraft.
The unique design helps it battle fires in remote and extreme locations. It can scoop over 1,600 gallons of water from lakes, rivers, or oceans in just 12 seconds, drop it directly on wildfires without landing, and keep flying for hours. And also urban jungles like Los Angeles. 2 super scoopers helped when flames ravaged the city and county 18 months ago.
The super scoopers help make the LA County residents and communities safer.
LA County Fire Chief Anthony Maroney knows their value.
How unique are the super scoopers' capabilities for fighting fire for you?
The super scoopers give us the ability to respond quickly, arrive on scene fast while the fire is still small. They're able to scoop out of the ocean and drop water and have very fast turnaround times on those fires, increasing the number of gallons dropped per hour.
Increasing the amount of water on a fire, simple math that can save buildings and lives. Hurricane-force winds grounded aircraft during last year's deadly Eaton fire, but if they were able to take off, Chief Maroney told me they would have greatly reduced the destruction of that fire. Ian Lee, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And finally today, we want to check out some video into us here at 10 TV. And this one, a pretty dramatic video taken by Susan Davis, who said she watched as a horse worked free from a debris flow that was triggered by rains in the Cottonwood Fire burn scar just south of Beaver, Utah. This was back on Sunday. The video reveals area roads actually quickly became impassable, and just of course dramatic. You can see right there that horse trying to get out of that debris from all that torrential rainfall in combination with the burn scar from the wildfire out there, leading to that debris flow that did cover the road. But thankfully the horse was at some point here able to get out of that debris and actually to safety, but still pretty dramatic stuff happening out there in parts of the West from the wildfires and from, of course, heavy rainfall. And lastly, check this video out. This is actually from my flight back from Columbus to Minneapolis back last Wednesday. And you'll notice, if we can take the video full, all that white that you see there below the plane's wing, that is all the wildfire smoke. So we are actually flying above the smoke last week, Wednesday. You can see the clear blue skies, the high cirrus clouds there above the wing, but below that, below about 20,000 feet, actually about 25,000 feet, that is all that wildfire smoke that we had to deal with Wednesday, Thursday, and especially into Friday, as a lot of that thick smoke was all aground, really at the surface, leading to hazy skies, hazardous air quality, but still pretty wild to be able to see that, of course, flying above the smoke here last week, Wednesday. And before we go, we also want to take another look at our forecast really quickly here, because we're tracking, of course, those storms coming in here for tomorrow. This is another look at the hour-by-hour forecast here around 7 a.m. as we got that line of storms. This is all storms that will develop in Wisconsin and Iowa later on today. They're going to track to the south and east, moving through Illinois into Indiana and into Ohio here for tomorrow morning. Those storms could be severe with damaging wind gusts and some hail, heavy rainfall, and can't even rule out a tornado. And then what happens with that, again, there's a potential for a second line to develop around noon, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then move off to the south and east. And that second round could be a little bit more intense, but it really comes down to what happens with the first round here for tomorrow. So, of course, we will be watching that as we go through tonight into your Tuesday. So your 10 weather impact 7-day forecast showing temperatures around 81 for a high here on your Tuesday. We got a solid chance of showers and storms, 90%, a large part of the area going to deal with the showers and storms. Not everyone is going to see severe weather. I just want to emphasize that, but some of us will likely have to deal with some severe thunderstorms moving through during the day. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, much nicer conditions, more sunshine, mid to upper 70s, low humidity, and those overnight temperatures down in the 50s. Thursday morning, 56 degrees, going to be feeling nice and pleasant here by the middle of the week. So that's going to do it for us here today on the 10 Weather Impact Show. Thanks for joining us here. And of course, we will be tracking that potential for severe weather coming up here for tomorrow. Later on this afternoon, Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer's in with the latest forecast. But until then, you can catch more news and weather online at 10tv.com.